Does Southern Miss become bowl eligible versus ULM? It's Locked On Sunbelt.
You are Locked On Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Today's episode brought to you by Mazda. Like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, pulling off the unexpected is only the beginning. Stay tuned later for highlights in this week's Moving the Game Forward, Mazda, Move, and Be Moved. All right, actually only 4 games this weekend. We got South Alabama taking on Georgia State. Halftime score was 28-14. We're recording it then. And then JMU and Texas State play on Tuesday. We'll recap. I guess we'll just recap the games on Monday and preview that for Tuesday's episode. There you go. So we don't have a whole lot to talk about. We've got 3 of the 4 games listed, and you have Troy and Louisiana. Okay. So does Southern Miss become bowl eligible versus ULM? The answer to that question is going to be a resounding yes. Right now, it's 85.5% to 14.5% predictor. And the line is 13.5. It went Southern Miss is favored by 13.5. ULM is one banged up football team. I mean, I don't know how Hunter Herring gets hurt because he doesn't play. Maybe got hurt in practice. Maybe got hurt last week. I do not know. But ULM's injury report is long. And so who knows what's going to happen with that. That is not going to look good at all. All right. Both Aiden Armenta and Hunter Herring are out. They're going to a third-string quarterback. They're a banged-up football team. And so this game will probably not be very close. This one's got Southern Miss written all over it. It really should be the case. I'm looking for it now. It was all over before, but can't seem to find it. Anyways, it is a long list, and ULM is incredibly banged up. They're not all that particularly good when they're healthy. And obviously, Bryant Vincent is being spread thin, being the head coach and interim AD at the same time. Kind of looks like that's the way ULM's playing when they get beat up pretty good by Coastal Carolina and then kind of laid an egg against Troy. Troy didn't have huge offensive numbers, but ULM kept on turning the ball over. Going to be tough to do that with this case. And we know who's a very good team at forcing the other team to turn the ball over. Don't we, Golden Eagles fans? Southern Miss. So this one is on a silver platter. Even if they're a little bit overconfident, which they really shouldn't be. They should be confident, but not overconfident, because you can just put that one back up there from last year's win total and say, let's not get too cocky here. But Southern Miss is in a good spot to get another win in the Sun Belt West. Probably keep pace with Troy is what's going to happen. And we'll see when that game happens. Could that be another game of the year, right? Because that looks like that's going to decide the Sun Belt West. But I think Southern Miss is, we'll see if they can clean up. I like what Charles Huff said. We're really good at the explosive plays, but we kind of need to make the 5 yards on 1st and 10. We kind of need to, finish off that third down, right? Because, Braylon Braxton was efficient last week, 13 out of 18 for 237 yards, but he hit the explosive play that Charles Huff is talking about, the 98-yard touchdown pass. But, only 5 incompletions, but they didn't consistently move the ball, obviously. Braylon Braxton's got, for all intents and purposes, a 100-yard pass, and he only finishes with 237 when the other 137 yards are, in this case, 139 yards. For the rest of the game, obviously, you'd like to be a little bit more, you'd like to score more points, is the thing, right? I know they won by double digits, but they should have probably They could have lost the ball game, to be honest with you. But they probably should have won by more because they're good and the Cajuns are not. The Cajuns aren't very good. They're just not very good at all. And so we'll see. I'm sure they want to clean things up. Always better to clean things up after a win versus a loss. And yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I think it's going to be all Southern Miss. All right, Scott Watkins puts it out. 31 players. Our guy from the Sun Herald, by the way, covering Southern Miss. Southern Miss has a couple of players out, Jameer Davis and Ishmael Ibrahim. I don't have my glasses. They have 31 players out, including both, Aiden Armenta and Hunter Herring are both doubtful, but I believe I saw that the third string quarterback is most likely going to go. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys that are out. They do have a lot of guys listed that are probable. All right, so they're not 31 guys not playing. But again, Aiden Armenta and Hunter Herring are probably not playing. They are doubtful. So this is all Southern Miss. Basically what we call this the fourth quarter game. All right, actually, when I was not a very good soccer player back in the day, I played on the fifth quarter team. And so that was basically junior highs or freshman team. We would get to play in the fifth quarter. So we would play an extra 20 minutes or something like that. And it would be to get the bench some playing time, right? This is going to be the fourth quarter game. All right. This is where you want to see what ULM had against Georgia Southern, but finish it off. I don't want Braylon Braxton playing with 5 minutes left to go in this game. All right. This should be a blowout. It shouldn't be very close. And let's see if Braylon Braxton can play probably 3 quarters and then go to the backup and get some guys that want to play. All right. Did you see Deion Sanders actually doing a game-like experience for the bench players just to get some film out there for guys who are going to transfer because they're stuck behind other players, right? Which is kind of pretty cool. It wasn't like I want you to leave, but I know you're going to, so let's get some film out there. We're going to make it a game experience. You guys have been working hard, right? And I think that's what Charles Huff is going to be able to do this weekend. Doesn't mean also that Brian Vincent won't be able to do it either, but he'll be on the short end of the stick, I think. I don't think this game's going to be very close. This should be all Southern Miss. I think they're going to cover this game relatively easily. All right, let's take a timeout. Who will bounce back? App State or ODU, both really crushing tough losses last week. All right. We'll do that right after I tell you about Mazda. This episode is brought to you by Mazda's, moving the game forward. For those who believe it's just not about playing the game, it's about redefining it. There are moments that do more than put points on the board. They move crowds, move culture, and keep the game moving forward. This week's moment that moved the game forward, we're going to give it to Samari Collier from Coastal Carolina. They went and came back and defeated App State 45-37. Somalia had 1 touchdown in the air and 2 touchdowns on the ground, and he led the comeback for the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. When you move what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. All right, tough spot for both these teams. App State was 1 game away from, I think, let's make sure we get that right, bowl eligible, right? They were going to be 5-2 and go on the road and try and beat ODU. ODU has just have the wheels come completely off against they looked bad against Marshall and even worse against James Madison. I mean, They put some points on the board, right? They scored 24 and 27. It's 51. But they've given up 111 points in 2 weeks. 111 points on what was a pretty good defense up until that point. Up until the last 2 weeks, ODU had a good defense. And of course, they've continued to turn the ball over. Right? They had more turnovers in the second half, trying to get back into it. And they just have not played very well at all. Right? App State let one slip away. I don't know which one's more painful. ODU being down 1 at half and getting blown out, or App State letting one slip away. You kind of feel like the one you slip away because you feel like you had the chance. Like ODU had no chance in that second half. I know there were turnovers, but you got 10 yards. You can't tell me you're going to win a ball game with 10 yards. That's not going to fly, right? You can't in the second half. You got 10 yards in the second half. You got 1 yard in the third quarter. You're not winning that football game. And so we'll see who bounces back. Both these teams can still have very, very good seasons. I guess if someone slips up at the top of the standings, it may have to be 2 teams to get back into the divisional race. But you do kind of want to see what App State is made of, see what ODU is made of, right? And, you would think this would be we're going to take the over on this one, right? I mean, it can't be, let's see what it is. Old Dominion is favored by, it opened up at 13.5. They're favored by 14.5. Over under is 59.5. I'm taking the over. All right. Both these teams are going to score over 30 points. I'm going to take App State to cover. All right. Am I copping out with that one? I'm going to take App State to cover and ODU to win. I don't think ODU's beaten anybody by 13.5 points. Not anymore. And I think App State's pretty good. J.J. Kohl has done what A.J. Swan could not do, and that was hang on to the football. We're not going to see how many fumbles he's got, but I can tell you how many interceptions he's got. 0. J.J. Kohl in 27, and I'm sorry, if I could do the math, 22 less pass attempts, has 0 interceptions and 7 touchdowns. A.J. Swan had 6 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. And J.J. Kohl, same completion percentage, 60% basically, both of them. And he's averaging a little bit more than a half a yard further per pass, 8 yards per pass versus 7.4. So J.J. Kohl has done a good job, just couldn't quite finish off Coastal Carolina. And actually the big part was they had 2 huge second half drives last week and ended up kicking field goals instead of punching it in for touchdowns. I mean, if you're a coach, you can't ask for anything more outside of getting the touchdown than what happened on these drives, right? These second half drives are awesome. 13 plays, 68 yards, 5 minutes, 12 seconds. Go up by 10. Coastal Carolina scores a touchdown. They come right back. 14 plays, 84 yards, 6 minutes. They just had the ball for 11 minutes and got 6 points instead of 14. And that's how you end up losing. That's what happened. All right. That's unfortunately how they ended up losing that ball game. So we shall see who bounces back in this one. And again, they got to hang on to the football. All right. If they keep on turning the ball over, they will lose again, ODU. And then all of a sudden, you're looking at 5-1 against JMU. You're now looking at a 3-game losing streak. Not great, Bob. Not great. So I will take ODU to win, but App State to cover. That's not a cop-out. That's kind of the way it's done. All right. So I'm taking App State to cover the 2-touchdown line and ODU to win the football game. They're playing at home. They gotta play a little bit. They have to play a little bit better than they have the last couple of weeks, don't they? I mean, kind of. They have to. All right, let's take a timeout because I want to. Arkansas State, Georgia Southern, both looking for to win 2 straight. And Georgia Southern actually had a bunch of news out on Thursday. And I do want to talk about what is apparently going to come. And I think there's going to be another change of quarterback for the Ragin Cajuns. And that might have to do with finances. It may have to. All right, we will do that after I tell you about DoorDash and FanDuel. It's almost the weekend. Time to look back and crown this week's MVP. Who delivered? Powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash streaks, saving more every time you order. These players delivered when it mattered most. Let's break it down. I don't think it's a big surprise who the MVP of the week was last week. One, Alonzo Barnett III. He was outstanding. 17 out of 25, 295 yards, 2 touchdowns in the air. 17 carries, 153 yards, 4 touchdowns on the ground. Case closed. For Alonzo Barnett III from JMU, he delivered in a big way. When the pressure was on, Barnett came through. No hesitation, no delay. And if you've been watching week after week, his performance continues to get better, and it was not a fluke. Alonzo Barnett is on a streak. And just like Alonzo Barnett III delivered for James Madison, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays. With DoorDash streaks, you can save every Saturday you order. Stack up all season, and you could save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period through November 18th. And FanDuel. NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love how FanDuel gives me so many ways to play. I've built parlays, tried player props, and even followed the live lines during games. Makes watching football even more exciting when you've got a little something riding on the action. And whether you're a casual fan or love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. All right, Dave Schultz, Lockdown Sunbelt, your teams every day. All right, Arkansas State, Georgia Southern, looking for 2 straight. A-State had that win over South Alabama in that penalty-filled ball game, which was brutal, 15-14, but good comeback for A-State. And Georgia Southern was in a little bit of a tussle with Georgia State, as maybe Clay Helton would not have made it to this week if they lost to Georgia State. I say that tongue-in-cheek, as Georgia Southern fans wouldn't have wanted him to, but again, I don't know where that money's coming from. I think he's got a $3 million buyout, and that just includes him, not to mention the other coaches. So I'm not sure he's going anywhere. But all of a sudden, Arkansas State and Georgia Southern looking to win 2 in a row. This ball game is in Statesboro. Or no, I'm sorry, it's in Jonesboro. Oh, big spot. Arkansas State is favored by 1.5. I don't know why I thought it was in Statesboro, but I just did. So we'll see who shows up. All right, Georgia Southern, that's a good win last week. All right, I know it was close and back and forth, and Georgia State's not that good, but you scored 21 points in the fourth quarter. Pretty good, okay? And Arkansas State just kind of like rounders hanging around, and they found a way to beat South Alabama. That's when I think the coach does a good job, and the players do a good job to just keep going, right? It wasn't like South Alabama was blowing you out. Just all you need is a couple of breaks, and they got a break at the end. They got a brutal penalty called on Major Applewhite, and they missed a field goal. And again, I don't think the field goal would have made a difference outside of forcing Arkansas State to get a touchdown instead of a field goal, but they were playing for a field goal the whole way down the field. So they were looking to take time off the clock. I'm not sure that would have mattered, right? They already did that against Texas State. So Arkansas State actually is looking for 3 straight. Oops. I looked up Georgia Southern. I didn't look up Arkansas State. So they did that against Arkansas. They did that against Texas State when they went right down the field and put a touchdown on the board and kicked the extra point. That took about 53 seconds. So, and they had much more time against South Alabama. In fact, they may have had just over 2 minutes. So I'm not sure that would have mattered if South Alabama made the field goal. They got fortunate. They didn't score a touchdown. They held them out of the end zone. And so I think that's good coaching when you just keep on playing, because as mad as Major Applewhite was at the end of the ball game or towards the end, Butch Jones was livid. His face was as red as the Red Wolves' helmets. All right. As red as a Red Wolf, pun intended, to begin the ball game. All right. And it was some bad penalties, whatever it was. He was livid. And in the, not only in the face of the referee, but one of his players got called for a holding, like what would have been a first down, and he got in his face too. So, but they keep on going and keep on playing, and they come away with a couple of wins. Or now they've come away with a couple of wins, and all of a sudden you even it up. You win a home game, and you're 4-4. You're a couple of games away from bowl eligibility, and maybe you're looking at 7-5 or 8-4. Right? When you were 1-4, it didn't look that good. So this looks much better. So I'm going to actually take Arkansas State at home. All right. They seem to be playing well. We're going to do Arkansas State, the Red Wolves, playing at home. All right. Meanwhile, the last game of the weekend, although not time-wise, I don't believe, although maybe it is. It is Troy hosting the Cajuns. We had Jared Parker on last week. He was fantastic. Trojans are 5-2, 3-0 in the Sun Belt. The Cajuns 2-5, 1-2 in the Sun Belt. And I agree with the guys. I think it was Jerry Abear talking about it. They were talking about Hunter Walker is going to play. It wouldn't be. I guess he's not going to start, but he's probably going to play, and eventually they're going to play him. If he's healthy, they're playing him. All right. We thought he was out for the season. That interception last week cost Cajuns. So I think the Cajuns want to play him. They're paying him, or someone's paying him. And so I think you're going to see Walker Howard in there. As exciting as Lunch Winfield is, he's played like a good quarter and a half, right? I think the big news was that Zylan Perry is back, the running back, so they're a little bit healthier in the backfield. I mean, obviously, Lunch is a little bit more athletic than Walker Howard. And Walker, if he's come back from surgery, I'm not sure how much he's running around anyways. But we were told Walker Howard's a pretty good athlete himself, right? And again, another guy, someone hit me up today, is Dez coming back? I said, there's no money. He's coming back. And also, if you want to put the whole blame on him because of the situation, that's fine. He's the head coach, okay? Although I'm not sure how always seems his quarterbacks get hurt. It is unbelievable. The last guy didn't have a quarterback get hurt for 3 years, if not 4. And he can't go a whole season, if not a month, without the quarterback getting hurt. It is a weird situation. But the Cajuns are playing with a third-string quarterback. What do you expect him to do? All right? And I don't mean to take it out on the kid. I'm not sure Daniel Beal is a FBS quarterback. But if you want to blame that part on Dez, that's fine. But they're not playing with the guy that they thought they were going to play with. In fact, they're playing with the guy that was third. Now, maybe some people are going to complain, well, he should have been second because you see the difference. Has it been that big of a difference? He didn't play that well against Southern Miss. When was the last time he played well? All right. I mean, played okay against James Madison. James Madison tried to give you the game. You were up, and again, should have been up by 10. That's more of a Dez situation. I blame Dez on that one. I do. You could have been up by 10 at half, so you did nothing in the second half, and you played well against Marshall. His coming out party. All right, he played extremely well against Marshall. That game, regardless of what Lunch Winfield does for the rest of his career for the Louisiana Ragin Cajuns, everyone's going to remember 51, 54, 51 in double overtime, at least the people who stayed. And so they're going to remember that. So he's going down in Cajuns lore. If Walker Howard is healthy, he's going to be the guy who plays. So if Lunch Winfield starts out poorly, you could see Walker Howard early. Now, which Troy do we get? Do we get the Troy that, starts off poorly and falls behind 28-7 before rallying? Or do the Cajuns turn it over and give Troy that opportunity, right? Because Troy's pretty good, especially if you give them the ball over and over again. So we shall see where that goes. Okay. Again, thank you so much. The numbers have been amazing. Again, I'm not sure where they came from, just the YouTube algorithm. So we're going to have not a record-setting month, but a really good month. It is appreciative. We will we'll have a full recap on Monday. I'm off this weekend. I feel like there's a conspiracy against me. Both Marshall and JMU not playing at home on Saturday. I think Marshall is off, right? And JMU's at Texas State on Tuesday. Two teams that I could have drove to. I could have left after work on Friday. Started to make my way to Harrisonburg and see where we end up on Saturday. And then Huntington's only 3.5 hours away. Could have left first thing in the morning. Whole weekend off. I never get a weekend off, and no home game. Can't even go see my guys at Murray State. They're in Youngstown State. It's a conspiracy theory. I do have the Cardinals. So if we can find some tickets to go to the Cards, we may just do that. I think that's 7:30 on Saturday. It's against my religion to pay for tickets. I just letting you know that. And I'm not really talking sportscaster religion in this case. All right. I've been in sports too long to where if I want to go to a game that badly, I'm going to find some tickets. All right. Is the point, which I would have found some. If I was going to Marshall or James Madison, I would have found myself in the press box, I think. All right. All right. So we will come back. We'll recap all of the games on Monday. We'll preview JMU and Texas State on Tuesday and see where we are from there. I'm not sure we're going to see a big surprise this weekend. I guess, App State could beat ODU. I guess that would be a surprise. I guess Georgia Southern could beat, that would be a big surprise because they're 2 touchdown underdogs. Georgia Southern's on a 1.5 underdog, so that's not a big surprise. Could the Cajuns take down Troy? That would be a huge surprise to me, and even a bigger surprise, obviously, would be ULM taking down Southern Miss. That's not going to happen at all. All right. Again, thanks so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. We had a great week. Looking forward to sitting home and watching the football all day Saturday. All right. Enjoy the football. We will talk to you on Monday, and we'll probably do some, quick updates on Saturday just to post, keep everyone updated. All right. Thanks again for tuning in. You've been watching Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Have a great weekend, everybody. Be safe and enjoy the football.